Design Inc. is going to be talking to Pierre Dubois about his concept, Gaiaville. Pierre, welcome.
Thank you.
Give us a little background about Pierre, your birthplace, your design background. Talk about Pierre.
I was born in the Caribbean, Haiti. Grew up there till I was about 16 or 17 years old. Came to the state with my whole family. Went into art school at Brooklyn College, local of New York, and then went on a kind of fluke, applied for graduate school, architecture school, and got accepted. And I studied at Columbia University, did my master's there, and then I've been practicing architecture now for more than 20 years. But mostly it's been housing. I worked for the city of New York for many years. Then I worked in private firms dealing with creating housing, new constructions. And then I worked for a non-for-profit more recently for 10 years, creating affordable housing. So that's my background.
Okay. Tell us about Gaiaville.
Well, the concept really is about trying to create the blueprint for the future Earth. I have worked in the process of doing all of this public sector work. I've worked a lot in sustainable projects, and it became very evident to me that sustainability is as good as the end user using the purpose of your design. If you go back after 5 years and you look at the work that you have done, your green area, your green roof, all of the green features that you have, most of the time the end user is not motivated to maintain it. Therefore, there is a kind of disappointment, and as a designer, to realize that all of the effort that you put in is not being maintained because the end user doesn't have any vested interest to maintain, because they don't understand why they should be make all this extra effort and reorganize the way that they are living to accommodate this very specific end use. So what happened with Gaiaville is that I was doing a silent retreat and meditation up in the Catskills. I have a property there, and I spent a week doing a very specific forgiveness prayer that was about asking forgiveness to everyone that I can remember since I was 3 years old, for the purpose of releasing any toxic relationship that I may have between me and them. And it's from the kahunas, which are the shamans of the Hawaii. And I did this, and since there was no one there and I was alone, when I was done with everyone that I remember, I thought, why don't I start now with the planet? You know, the idea that my toxic thought toward an individual, a nation, a group, may have somehow contributing collectively to concepts of war and attack. And I ask for forgiveness for this. Famine, warring, and then I thought, how many times have I not recycled properly? You know, that kind of concept. Forgiveness for all of this. And in the end, what ended up happening is that one day I ran out of food, right? Because I was there alone. And I went into town to buy groceries and to have a sandwich. And as I was eating the sandwich, I experienced a vision. I saw a community where everything was green and sustainable, and where people were living there. It was a healing place where people were living there in complete harmony with the planet. And the concept of Gaiaville got born from this. I've been obsessed with this vision, and I've been trying to figure out a way to help manifest it and help create it. So that's basically.
Tell us a little bit about the green architecture that you want to implement, the commerce and the other elements.
Right. What occurred to me is that in the examination of this, and it took me 2 years to try to figure out, you know, when you get what I call a download or spiritual vision, as architects and designers, we know this. Like when you have a concept, it takes a tremendous amount of effort to translate what may be a diagram, a little bubble diagram, into an actual workable building. So it took a lot of effort to try to figure out the legal structure to try to do this. That was one thing. The other thing as well is that it took a lot of effort to try to figure out how to make the community work as compared, because I did a whole precedent research of other intentional and green communities. There are lots of them that exist, and I'm not going to take from them, but I wanted to learn the degrees of their success has to do with one thing and one thing alone. It's the people factor. The concept may be terrific, but it's always in the friction between people that things usually fall apart. So how do you create not only a green sustainable community, but how do you create it in a manner that actually factors in the connection that exists between people? So it became very evident to me that Gaiaville was not just a sustainable community. We want to create, the effort is to create a community of 350 homes, okay? So it's a big effort. It's an actual village of about 1,500 to 2,000 people. And I want to do this in a way to demonstrate to the planet that it can be done. So it became very clear that the project in itself was not just about creating a sustainable village, but it was about creating all of the inner working of the entire community. So for that reason, it was not just about green architecture and design, but it was also about green power generation. It was about creating green food production. It was also about creating a model of wellness and healthcare that's completely different. We have a wellness and healthcare system that is completely broken, that does not work. And so I have asked healthcare providers, doctors, herbalists, energy healers to get together and create an integrative medicine system. And I have subcommittees that are meeting to try to implement, to create this. Education and the arts. If you're really thinking about the future Earth, how really are we to educate our people? Is it a question of testing, or is it a question of preparing the citizens that are going to be the Earth keepers, that are going to make the right decision, that are going to be in harmony with the planet? And the key concept that we keep coming back to is interdependence. The realization that every move and every gesture that I make has an effect on somebody else. And how do you teach people this? Men, women, and children. So we have educators who are working on creating the pedagogy to actually teach this. And the part that's probably the most critical of all is commerce and economy. How do you transact in a world where we have right now an economical system on a global scale that is collapsing? How do you actually create an exchange system that is fair, equitable, where the 1% is not hoarding? We have enough resources on the planet to actually, for every man, woman, and children in the planet to be take care of, to be healthy, to have a good life, to have an opportunity at a good education. There is no reason there should be lack. It's greed that's creating the lack. How do we create an exchange system? Now, in fairness, within the community, we probably can implement something that's to our liking. But since we exist in the real world that has not accepted this concept, we have to figure out a way to kind of create a bridge between us and the outside world.